Welcome back, my friends. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Silver Slayer, so now let's talk silver. As we approach 100,000 subscribers, I'm going to be doing several massive silver giveaways. If you want a chance to win some silver shipped straight to your front doorstep, just click subscribe because I'm going to be doing several giveaways over the next couple of months. Yes, 25,000 more subscribers sounds like a lot, but analytics show I'll be reaching that by June or July. 25,000 subscribers ago was my 50,000 subscriber giveaway, and feels like that giveaway was yesterday. So we're going to be approaching that shortly. You don't want to miss these giveaways. I'm talking tubes of eagles. I'm talking about a lot of silver and gold. May the luckiest stackers win. Now check out these articles. These two articles hit the nail on the head of why silver has so much potential. The first sentence, both of these articles explain everything. Check this out. Silver investors should begin to closely monitor the declining silver vault levels worldwide situation while the circumstances are not yet at a crisis point. Not yet. Physical shortage in silver appears to be even more extreme this week than it was last week and shows no signs whatsoever of abating. Retail silver demand continues at an enormous rate as silver investors are buying this dip with more than the usual amount of enthusiasm. And there are shortages at the retail level just about everywhere now. But this is the important part. The real shortage that will manifest itself in the wholesale good delivery bar market when the serious money starts flowing into the world's various and sundry depositories. Now, second article. Silver demand and deficit, both heading to record highs in decades. Global demand for silver is expected to rise 16% this year to 1.21 billion ounces, creating the biggest deficit in decades, according to the Silver Institute. We're talking about a deficit of 194 million ounces of silver this year, up from 48 million ounces in 2021. So, we're at a very, very interesting time in, I guess, we could call not only just the precious metals world, but in the economy, in this new green revolution. As we go green, nobody really understands the severity of the silver shortage. And when they do, it's going to be too late. You and I do. But when I say nobody, I mean big business, right? They're not aware. Scientists are finally starting to get the picture. I cover articles here and there of people saying that we need to start figuring out a way to scrap silver out of recycling, since most silver is thrown away in landfills since it's used for solar panels and they have a very short half-life and all that type of stuff. But these two articles dive into some very, very, very good stuff. One of these, I think it's this one, even breaks down, which one is it? Actually, I think it's this one. There's actually 3 articles here. Yeah, there's 3 articles. I'm probably just going to be covering the first 2. This one is also talking about silver market manipulated could now move forcefully to the upside. So you could see I got some good stuff here. The first one we're going to be checking out is titled Silver Investors Alert 2023 Could Be Historic and Memorable. The second one is what I already covered, talking about the demand and deficit both heading to record highs. And then this one is the manipulation could be forcefully moving to the upside, which I've talked about before. Yes, price is manipulated, but that can't continue on forever, especially when you talk about the fundamentals, which is supply and demand, which would override any type of manipulation going on the COMEX or spoofing from banks like JP Morgan. So, with that said, you can see that this is going to be a very good video, so make sure you like this video. If you like the video, let me know what you think about this in the comment section below, and most importantly, make sure you subscribe, not for my sake, for your own sake, and not just because I'm giving away a lot of silver and gold, but because I post daily videos. That's the important part. So, let's look at this. We already covered this. Now let's move into the rest of this paragraph. So there are shortages at the retail level just about everywhere now. But the real shortage that will manifest itself in the wholesale good delivery bar market when the serious money starts flowing in, and we're already starting to see that. I mean, Indian demand, I think it's in this article down here. Pretty sure it is, talking about Indian demand. Yeah, Indian silver demand at record highs. And you have Russia pouring in, buying boatloads of gold, and then you have China reopening the economy, and China's the biggest consumer of silver. You know, we're talking about all these countries, which are all in the BRICS nations, buying boatloads of gold and silver, and we just don't have enough of it. Especially since the investing sector, nobody's selling it, right? Everyone's buying the silver, taking it off the shelves, and they're keeping it. So they also go into, and this is actually really important. This is really important, actually, which I don't think enough people talk about, maybe including myself, is when all this money starts flowing into the world's various depositories, ETFs, mutual funds, especially the SLV, SIVR, Sprott, PSLV. When this happens, where on earth are all these tens, hundreds of millions of ounces of silver to satisfy that demand going to come from? Where's it going to come from? Out of thin air? Recycling? That's not going to put a dent in anything. Of course, not to be forgotten about the SLV is this not so little matter of the 51 plus million troy ounce shares currently sold short in this ETF. That's up a couple of million ounces from the previous short report. The reason that number remains stubbornly high is certainly because the physical metal doesn't exist to deposit without driving silver prices to the moon, if it's even available in good delivery bar form at all, that is. And yes, you know, the COMEX is a facade. If things were equal in a perfect world, if the COMEX was fair, silver's price would be beyond the moon. It'd probably be in Pluto. Probably the James Webb telescope could barely even catch that part of the universe, how far the price would be. Bullish reasons for silver investors. There are reasons for silver investors to be bullish. Not just because silver's role as a monetary metal and inflation hedge. That's one reason. That's one reason people invest. But there's others, and that's why I call silver the perfect investment. It's not just one thing like every other investment is. There's this, that, and the next. There's also due to its importance as an industrial metal. Doug Casey recently talked about silver's many uses and what it means for the future with International Man. That's the best. That's such a good way to put it. You know, it's a lot of people do probably come into this because they fear inflation. You know, they want to put their money in something that's a safe haven. Gold and silver makes the most sense. But that's not what's going to make it explode, in my opinion. Some people say that is the reason. But me personally, I think the fundamentals, supply shortage, low supply, high demand pushes the price up. I think that's what's going to. I think it's going to be a little bit of both. But that's also why silver's so explosive. My name is Silver Slayer, not Gold Slayer, for a reason. If we're talking about just its monetary and inflation hedge, then gold would have just as much potential as silver. But there is no shortage of gold. Gold isn't scarce. That's the part that sets silver aside. That's why it's called Wall Street Silver, not Wall Street Gold. That's why it's called the Silver Institute, not the Gold Institute. That's why there's such a big silver stacking community on YouTube, not so much gold. That's why. So, first question posted to Casey was, what makes silver useful and valuable? Well, I mean, I really don't want to look at that because maybe I'll post this article in the description if you want to check that type of stuff out. I'm assuming most of you all know, especially if you've watched my channel for more than a week or so. I mean, I've talked about this time and time again, and I've dove deep into the uses. I mean, very, very deep. And I'm sure a lot of you know why. And if you don't, I've made a lot of beginner type videos, especially a couple of years ago. Silver possesses qualities that make it ideal for its use in electronics, medicine. I mean, there's colloidal silver in the medical world. Silver has antimicrobial properties. Silver can purify water. You drop silver in milk, it keeps the milk fresh longer. Is everything. It's magical. Let's keep moving on. I think we could probably move to the other article because this looks like, actually no, there is some good stuff here. So this is a good point, which I've talked about in the past. Casey alluded to the fact that there are very few standalone silver mines. Most silver production is a byproduct, meaning they find it by accident. There's no primary silver mines. There was actually one that was going to happen in Canada, but they protested it because of ground pollution in the water, which is actually kind of ironic because silver purifies water, but they're protesting a mine. Now, I know that mining there would contaminate the groundwater, but it's just ironic because silver does purify water. So it's just funny how that works. But yeah, very few primary silver mines. Silver is found by accident when they're looking for gold, lead, or zinc. Global silver production is around 800 million ounces annually. But remember, demand just exceeded 1.21 billion. And that compares to about 80 million ounces of gold. Gold to silver ratio is about 7-1 right now. But that ounce of gold that gets dug up is going to stay in circulation for centuries. Ounce of silver is going to get thrown away since it's an industrial metal, not more of a monetary metal that just sits around. If you're bullish on gold, you should be even more bullish on silver. Silver typically outperforms gold in a bull market. And yeah, like I was saying, if you're bullish on gold, then silver is an extreme. I call it gold on steroids because of the fundamentals as well. Gold isn't scarce. The gold to silver ratio indicates silver is significantly underpriced, and that's the best way. The best way to tell if gold's a better buy or silver's a better buy at any point in time is looking at the gold to silver ratio. When the gold to silver ratio was 125-1 in March of 2020, silver was $11. Gold is breaking past its all-time highs ever, still till this day. Thousands of years. That was the highest price gold's ever been. It broke past $2,000, while we see silver sitting at $11. But regardless, though, the gold to silver ratio is a great tool to use. We knew at 125-1 it was going to go back downwards because that's extremely, extremely out of whack. Historically, the ratio is 16-1. It used to be 2.5-1. Then it was 8-1. And then it's 16-1. And then in 1930, FDR got in office, became president, and changed it to 75-1. Nowadays, it's still around there. It's a man-made ratio where realistically, logistically, it should be 1-1. Silver is more useful than gold, so why is gold more valuable than silver? Because it's more scarce? It really isn't when you think about silver being thrown away, most of it, while gold is recycled and re-scrapped and reused because people are pawning their necklaces and coins and jewelry because gold's so valuable. People do that. Plus, it just sits around since it's not used much in electronics. So it's even a double whammy because you have a metal, it's a monetary metal, so it just kind of sits around in vaults and used in jewelry, so it gets melted into more coins and jewelry and necklaces. Plus, it's valuable, so people are willing to scrap through their grandma's jewelry drawer and pawn that stuff. But silver, it's cheap. Nobody's scrapping jewelry. They're not going to be scrapping. They're not taking silver out of cell phones. They're taking gold out of cell phones because you could actually make some money doing that. Not so much silver. Plus, silver is mainly an industrial metal, so it's used in electric vehicles and solar panels and it's thrown away in a landfill, never to be recycled. So let's keep moving on. So India's massive silver demand cutting world warehouse stocks. So you could see right here. Look at that from 2021 to 2022. Imagine what 2023 is going to look like. So yeah, let's look at this second article now. So this is the second one that was talking about the demand and the deficit, both at record highs. It does go into Indian demand, so I'm not going to cover too much of that, but this part's important. So institutional demand for silver has faced headwinds due to rising interest rates with the Federal Reserve's inflation fight. This has led to a decrease in silver ETF holdings, but demand for physical has been robust. Physical investment demand is on pace to jump by 18% to 329 million ounces this year. That's a lot. That's just the investment sector. We're not talking about solar panels, which solar panel demand increased 15% this year alone. Think about in the year 2025, 2026, 2030, how much silver we'll need, right? Imagine that. This year, a new high. Imagine what that number is going to be in 2027, 2028 when the entire world's going green and we're already facing this shortage. It's not realistic. We do not have enough silver. The numbers don't lie. And the only thing you could say, the 1 + 1 = 2. If we don't have enough, and we know that, that means that we're going to run out. And if you invest in anything, what is the first thing you learn? Low supply, high demand pushes the price up. High supply, low demand pushes the price down. Scarcity, a deficit. If you have something and there's not much of it, and everyone else wants it, you could set the price. Producers turn into consumers, the consumers turn into producers. People like you and I that want the silver will be selling it to the people that need the silver. They need the silver. We just want it. If you want the newest, latest iPhone, you better hope that they need it. So, and we got even this. Silver, jewelry, and silver are set to surge 29% and 72% respectively, 235 million ounces, 73 million ounces this year. And that's thanks to the unprecedented rebound in Indian demand. I mean, 235 million ounces. We only produce 800 million ounces annually. I mean, that's insane to think about. That's insane to think about. So, jewelry demand, and then adding that by the what was the other one? The investment demand, which was like 329. So we're talking about, that's insane. We're talking about 600 million ounces between those two alone, 600 million, and the industrial sector is the biggest cause, and we're already at 300 million ounces left that we're digging up. But investing, or the industrial sector, the industrial sector is where we need the most silver and will continue to grow. That will continue to grow. And great sentence right here. Now is a great place to load up, or a great time to load up on silver. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to cover, or this is a good part right here, actually. Third reason is that, and it's probably talking about the first two, what we've been talking about, but the third reason is that a tangible asset having intrinsic value. Silver will hold its value and increase in price like gold as inflation mounts in the direction of hyperinflation, and it is more practical than gold for everyday barter situations in where you have to exchange something of value to obtain what you need rather than trying to pass off piles of worthless banknotes. And yeah, that's what our money was literally used for. Dollars were just a way to exchange that. It was the dollar represented, you could exchange it, a silver certificate, gold certificate, for gold or silver. And that's just so you didn't have to carry around gold or any, but then when we got rid of the gold standard, when we got rid of the silver standard, when we got rid of our money being backed by precious metals, look what happened to the dollar. Dollar collapsed instantly. If you look at a chart, it's insane to see how fast the dollar collapsed, because then we're using fake money, replacing it with fake money, trying to get ourselves out of debt by replacing it with more debt. It's like trying to pay off a credit card with another credit card. It's going to catch up. That's why we're $30 trillion in debt. That's why the BRICS nations is trying to create a digital currency backed by physical commodities. Instead of dollar bills, it will be digital, but it's still going to be backed by precious metals, which is a much better model than we are using. Even though it's a digital currency, some people are against crypto or whatever it would look like. At least it's backed by something of actual value. And that's, I think, what would stand the test of time, because every fiat-based system throughout history has collapsed, and they last about a century. And the dollar's been here about a century. So a lot to look at, folks. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you like the video. Please like the video if you liked the video. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Also, make sure you subscribe if you want a chance to win some silver. Thanks for tuning in. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.